Hello, Mooncrafters. Welcome. This is Craft of Moon. Today I'm here with my friend Christa, and she's going to be talking to us about some upcoming projects she's got going on. Christa is somebody that I trust as an astrologer. She does a lot of work with the Decans. She's an alumni of Nightlight Astrology, which is where we originally met. She is the founder of, if I can remember how to say it correctly, Asteris. You'll have to pronounce Asteri Soferi. So I'm slaughtering
Asteri Sophia Kairos.
Asteri Sophia
It's
Kairos.
Ask. We just use Ask, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Ask. Oh, I like that. Yeah, that's a good one. So we're really excited to be talking to Christa today. And she's going to be talking to us a little bit about some of her upcoming projects, both here coming up in December. She's got a class that she's going to be teaching starting at the end of December for a few Mondays in a row, I believe. And then we can talk about some of the things that she's got going on in the spring and maybe even into later next year. So welcome, Christa. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. It's good to meet in your space.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's true. You've had me on your channel a few times, which I've super appreciated. And, to be honest, that, coming onto your channel is what inspired me to have people coming onto mine, because I thought, wow, this is such a great way to connect with friends, which we otherwise get so busy with our stuff and our lives and our business that we don't often have time to connect with. So this is a great way to stay connected and to reconnect. So yeah, I appreciate you bringing me onto your channel and inspiring me to do the same.
Yeah, the way I look at it is like we're each our own little like AM radio stations that we just emit out to our local community. And our local community we have enough bandwidth to just reach them, but then sometimes we can like bounce signals of other people, like, hey, I'm going to bounce Ryan's signal to my community and you bounce it to yours. And it's just, I think it keeps things interesting and connecting and refreshing. And you can look at my chart and see how that might be expressed, but it's just one of my favorite things to do is to talk to other astrologers.
Yeah, totally. It's fantastic. And I really like, a lot of the conversations you have, and it's you've got a great channel. Let's tell everybody a little bit about some of your channels and where to meet you. I know that you're pretty active on YouTube for video and audio, listening to you and watching what you're doing. And also on Substack for reading some of your work. You do a lot of work there. Tell us kind of the difference between those two and what people can expect on YouTube versus on Substack.
Sure. Well, I like to be on social media. Like it's fun for me still. And so I like to meet people where they're at. I am on pretty much all of the platforms out there in some capacity, just because I like to kind of play around and stir little pots. But the big pots that I stir are Substack and YouTube, mostly because it's the formats that I enjoy the most. With Substack came from being on Twitter for a really long time and really enjoying, like, I never paid for Twitter, so I never paid to like be able to like long form tweet. And then when Twitter just kind of fell apart and now it's just like a bunch of bots, it's just not very interesting to be on at all. Like I'm still technically there, but I don't play around there really hardly at all. But I kind of took that, and then it's been about 2 years. I think it was January of 23 that I started on Substack of just like, here's an open page to just like start writing. And it was very random that I would put things up there. It was also really vulnerable to write. Writing is the most vulnerable piece of my work. And that kind of made it the more interesting to just be vulnerable in front of people about these things. It just felt like when you put pen to paper, writing words, spelling words is like casting spells, like literally. And so it felt kind of where I wanted to be the most. And I know that there's complications with Substack, like there are with most platforms. I found that there's more good there than bad, and I really like the community that's on Substack.
Mm.
It's not just a bubble. Like, you can make a bubble of it if you want, but I think that it's more about just supporting work.
Mm.
And it's been a part of my process of developing as a writer, which has informed. I do forecasting on YouTube. I do all sorts of educational videos on YouTube, and it's kind of sprung from the writing that I've done on Substack. So it kind of depends. Like, if you like to read, or have like a podcast style read to you, then Substack is the platform that you can access that work. Most of my stuff is not behind a paywall. I do have a few things that I put behind a paywall just to kind of thank the paid subscribers so they get something a little unique.
Mhm.
And then the YouTube is really just there as both evergreen content, like the Decan work that I did on there. And I have a series called No Dumb Questions, where I just like talk about one idea about astrology. And usually it's about, these concepts. When you're getting into astrology, you're overwhelmed. You're like, I need to know ZR and Ferdaria and solar returns and dignities and houses and aspects and all these things. And
Mhm.
they're all awesome, but it can
They
be a bit
are.
overwhelming. So just talking to one astrologer about one thing to give some people some idea and hopefully inspire them to go into a rabbit hole with that.
Yeah.
But then I interview people that I just enjoy their work and I want to hear more about their work. So I have just like it's called talks. We just talk about random things, mostly about what they're good at. Like feng shui. I had Ren Butler on to talk about Neptune Saturn just because I wanted his voice,
Yeah.
which was like a really beautiful conversation. This contemporary tarot lady that I really like, I interviewed her. So it's really whatever I want, but it's all within the realm of astrology, tarot, plant medicine, that sort of a thing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I remember that the No Dumb Questions that I came on for was the Antisha, right? We did Antisha.
yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think you were the first one. I think that was the first No Dumb
Oh,
Questions
was I? Oh,
was
wow.
was
Oh,
yours. Yeah.
how fun. Okay.
You started with a hard one.
Right.
Antisha is not like an easy concept to really like wrap your mind around, but I love Antisha. I really love
Yeah.
Antisha.
Well, and it's definitely one of those concepts that when you're first starting out in astrology and you hear this word Antisha, like, what does that mean? It must be really important, and it's the secret meaning of everything. And it kind of is the secret meaning of stuff. So it's kind of like what it is. But yeah, it was cool that we were able to do that. And it's kind of fun to know that it was the first one. Yeah.
I liked Antisha when I first learned about it. I was like, it's a secret what? Like I was just immediately drawn to the fact that it had like the cloaking of secrecy to it. It's still like one of the things that I spot, it's just if there's an Antisha in the chart, I usually, my radar kind of hones in on it because there's some sort of mystery to reveal within the chart.
You're Scorpio rising, right?
I'm Scorpio rising.
So you like those secrets. You like digging into them.
Yeah.
You're all about it. Yeah, cool. That's awesome. So on the Substack, you said that you read those. So do you read your articles for people to podcast into?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Some of the ones that I write, because the way I write is conversational. Some of the pieces I like to record myself and put out there. But within the Substack app, you can just play an article and it'll have an AI voice read it.
Oh,
and
really?
So,
I've never used that.
So you can just listen to an article. You can't do it. I haven't seen to be able to do it on a desktop, but on the mobile app, like within the app, not on a browser, you can just play the article and it'll just have, the author can choose the style of voice that's being read, but it'll just read it, which is kind of nice,
It is kind of nice. Yeah, I didn't realize that. I don't use the app that much with Substack. I guess maybe I use the desktop more, and maybe I didn't notice that function. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool. So so you've got this course coming up at the end of the month. Tell us about that.
So the Decans are they're one of the dignities in astrology, and it's I can get into like exactly what it is, but I love the Decans. Like, I love to talk about them. I read tarot, and tarot and astrology have so much sisterhood with each other, so much crossover, so many things that are adjacent. And to me, the Decans is like the clearest bridge between the two realms of astrology and tarot. There's 36 decans, so you can subdivide the entire sky into 36 equal portions. And so there's 3 decans per sign. There's 12 signs. And it's just like a doorway or a window to kind of enter into a sign under the auspices of the decan ruler. And there's a tarot card that's associated with every single decan. And now these correspondences are ones that people have created over time. And my argument is that there's no permanent ruler of the decan. There's like a steward or a host of the decan. I think it's all up for negotiation. And the secret, like, I'll just give it to you on the front end, is like the secret for me of decans is the stories that are told through that stewardship of Venus ruling the last 10 days or the last 10 degrees of Aries tells a very particular story, as opposed to the first 10 days, which is told by Mars. And so if you have a placement in like the early degrees or the late degrees of Aries, they'll tell different stories. They'll be expressed differently by the planets that are there. And also where the house is of Aries and where your own natal Mars and the sun is, because those are important rulers of Aries. So it's all about teasing the stories out. And I think that if you're interested in astrology but feel overwhelmed or don't even really know where to start, and you're not into the technical bits of it, like there's plenty of technical mathematics to astrology. There's so much soul in the stories that astrology can teach us. And when we're taught through story, we retain that knowledge. It turns into wisdom over time because we embody that knowledge, as opposed to memorizing mathematical formula. And my business name is Practical Astros. Like, I want astrology to be practical and to be brought down to earth, because it'll float back up to the sky as soon as we let it go. It's like holding it into the earth, embodying it in our own daily life is really fun to do. And I think people get a little paralysis of like, how am I supposed to do this? Like, so the moon's in Sagittarius. So what, like, what am I supposed to do with that? I'm like, I'll tell you what to do with it, like, so it's just there's so much magic and mystery about the decans, and I'll talk about that. Like their origin that we have record for is pretty amazing. But there's also a functional, practical, really fun use now. It's not just looking at what the ancient Egyptians did, on the tombs of royals, at the break of dawn every time somebody died. It's not just that. It is that, and also how you can celebrate the sun being in this final decan of Sagittarius, which is where it is now that we're recording.
So just not to give too much away for your course, because we want people to take your class, but to like prime the pump for them, for people that might not be super fully familiar. Decan is a word that comes from Greek. It means 10. It's like a decade. And we call it a decan because it's dealing with 10 degree segments. And that's why there's 36 in the zodiac, because there's 360 degrees in a circle. And because the sun moves about a degree a day, that's why we can equate the decan to also being not just 10 degrees, but 10 days. And so this is kind of like a way for people to connect to smaller increments of the passage of time and connect it to their lives. And one of the things you were talking about is how that connects to the tarot and this correspondence that people work on, and that you kind of practice connecting to this correspondence with the tarot, is like linking up the archetypes and the significations that a particular tarot card is going to have, and kind of bringing that into a particular decan and using that to influence the way that you're kind of reflecting on and thinking about the activities that are going on in your life during that particular decan. Is that right?
That's great. That's a nice little soundbite. Thanks.
I just kind of like wanted to bring it around for people that might not be super familiar with what a decan is, but then after learning a little bit might want to jump into your class.
And I think that people talk more now than they have in the past about decan walks, and usually that happens around the spring equinox when we begin Aries 1. But
that's where we go out and take a walk, right, around the around the
Yes,
sundial?
yeah,
We're walking around the
yeah,
sundial? No, what is a
yeah.
Decan walk? Tell me what's a Decan walk.
So that's why I want. It's like Deccan walk is like this word that people throw around, and some people know what it is, and some people don't.
Yeah,
But the idea of spending at least 10 days,
yeah.
roughly 10 days, where when the sun is traveling through a particular part of the sky, because the zodiac were just placeholders of the sky. Like the zodiac is not all of the signs are not exactly equal to each other. They're just
Mm,
kind of these placeholders. And but the sun travels through, it takes roughly 360 days, 360
mhm,
degrees. It's more than that, obviously. There's these intercalary days that kind of happen outside of the lunar solar cycle, which is kind of what Yule is about and the summer solstice and
mm,
all this.
mhm,
That's not about that. Like what the Deccan walk is like taking any moment and then following the sun as it goes through those 10 days that are symbolized by the story that Deccan ruler holds,
mhm,
in addition to where the sun is, like if the sun is in Sagittarius or in Aquarius or in Gemini or in Cancer, you follow it with your own omens for the day.
mm,
And so you can kind of see, what does it feel like? What does it mean for the sun to be in the first decan of Capricorn? So on the winter solstice, the sun moves into Capricorn, and then it spends the first roughly 10 days going through that first decan. And so you can walk through your own life and write down the omens or write down your dreams. There's all sorts of ways that people encapsulate and capture kind of the spirit of the day.
mm.
One woman I know just collected her junk mail and made a collage out of it. Every day she would just make a little collage, and that itself became kind of the symbol of her Deccan
Yeah,
walk for those 10 days. And then 10 days later, she would change it. Some people just pull the tarot card, or
mhm,
they wait to see what their first bird that they see that morning is, or
mhm,
what's the first song on their playlist or on the radio. It's like these moments of what is happening just under the surface that
mm,
maybe I want to connect with.
mhm,
Um, the Decans are a family of stars that are just under the zodiac, like just under the ecliptic. So we can't quite see them all the time.
mm,
And so they have this subliminal like physicality to them to our own observance.
mhm.
And so to me that feeds into, there is like this fairy fog that is like right there at the horizon, and when dawn breaks it maybe burns it off, but that magic is still there, and
Yeah,
there's magic that we can kind of access
mhm,
through witnessing or noticing the omens, very small omens or very large omens. They don't have to be like the most spectacular thing that you've ever seen. It can be very, very subtle. And I think playing around with like what you choose to do as a Deccan walk is just a way to honor your own connection to receiving the signal of maybe magical radio stations that are trying to transmit to you,
yeah. And you talk about omens and like paying attention to the omens that you see on a daily basis as you're going through your Decan walk.
Hmm.
And I know you mentioned to me about your own kind of practice around animal omens.
Hmm.
How does that work into your Decan walk practice, or your, however you're working through the Decans? Yeah.
Well, you can use that. I work with animal symbolism a lot, mainly
Mhm.
because I have a very active dream life, and I
Mm,
have since I was very young. And animals play an important role in my dreams.
mhm,
And I have a lot of animals around me. Like I live in Western North Carolina. I have bears and cougars, coyotes and turkeys and woodpeckers and deer and groundhog. I mean, I have
mm.
these like around my home.
Yeah.
Like I had a family of 4 bears right at this door here
Wow.
about a month ago.
Wow.
I mean, I have a lot of animals around me, and animals
Yeah.
show up at auspicious moments for me. It's just animals are just a connector for me. They're not for everyone, so I
Yeah.
I, I take them with meaning.
Yeah.
A lot of times when I see a certain bird, especially, I have my own personal correspondences with what that bird means to me, mostly
Mm,
because of how I engage with it in my dream or just my history of the bird. I'm kind of a bird nerd, and so I have a lot of experience with birds,
mhm,
reptiles too. So I it's important to me. I imbue it with meaning. Other
Mhm.
people may not have that. And so with you can choose like a Deccan walk of just what animals are prominent today. And it could be that there's a song on the radio that sings about an animal, or you see a magazine cover that has an animal that conjures up something else.
Mm.
It's just like a it's just like um a little tiny flag trying to get your attention. If you've ever been out in the woods or in a green space and there'll be like a bunch of plants and there's one leaf just waving madly at you, like
Right.
one single leaf. That's kind of what it is. It's like sometimes you just see a pigeon and you're
Yeah.
just fixated on it. Like
Yeah.
what's going on? Like there's some
Yeah.
sort of
Yeah.
sentient magic that is really you're honing in on. And
Yeah.
that's that kind of moment that a Deccan walk can just
Yeah.
trigger. If like maybe it doesn't make any sense now, but maybe writing it down and just journaling it, or having just a list of days like, December 17th, I saw a woodpecker. It flew right above my window,
Right.
that cannot be all it is.
Right.
And as like good astrologers, if you write the dates down and the times,
Yeah.
you can go back and look at
Mhm.
what was the chart of the moment? What did that mean? Something happened to a family member at that moment. Maybe that was like some sort of connection with that bird,
Right.
getting to the heart of the matter, which is kind of woodpecker for me,
Yep.
with the moment. And I can do that because I've written it down and I'm thinking about it or
Yeah.
meditating on it or dreaming about it, whatever it is. It's
Yeah.
just the Deccan walk is like a physical way to engage with non-physical
Yeah.
information.
Yeah. One of the things I do, because I'm not as good about like writing stuff down, and even when I've been good at writing stuff down, I'm not good at having like a centralized place for it. So what I've done in the last couple years, I started doing, and has been working pretty well for me, is that when I have an event or a moment like that that I want to remember, I take a photograph.
Mhm.
Either of the thing that I'm trying to remember, or just even a selfie, or just something around me that reminds me of
Yeah,
it. And then, because photographs on your phone have geolocation and timestamps, and so
yeah.
then I can go back to the timestamp and the geolocation to do a chart or something if I want. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I also do because I have AstroGold on my phone. I will just take a screenshot of the moment,
Oh,
to
yeah.
have like the chart.
Yeah.
But then often I won't put any notes, so I'll go back and be like, I totally forgot what happened. Like,
Right.
what is this chart for? There's so many screenshots from them, and I
I know.
don't know what the thread
Don't know
is.
what they were. Totally. Sometimes I'll pair it. Sometimes I'll do a screenshot of the chart and then take a
Mm,
picture. And then
that's
because they're side by side,
brilliant.
then I kind of
Yeah,
like know what's going on. Yeah.
that's brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, but I've got all these books, like empty journals around me, that I like have all this
Mm,
intention of filling up with all these words that I want to write.
hmm
And I can never like decide on which one I should write in.
mm.
And so many of them just stay empty.
I
But
love, and I have a bunch right in front of me, but the decomposition books,
yeah,
these are my favorite. I
yeah,
love these.
yeah.
Um, but then I'll write something very brilliant down, I'm sure, and then totally forget which notebook it was in.
Right.
Be like, I feel like I had a really good idea, and I am not about to just go through and take notes from my own notes. Like that just
Yeah,
sounds like torture to me.
right.
So it'll be like the books themselves will be kind of their own oracle, where I'll just flip through my old notebooks and be like, oh, that's a good idea. I'll do that
Yeah,
now. It's because I
right,
totally forgot about it from three
right,
years ago.
right. Oh, that's a good way to use it. I love that
Yeah.
idea. Yeah. So this spring you're going to be, so you mentioned dreams earlier. This spring
hmm
you're doing something with dreams, right?
Yeah. The workshop that I'm giving at the end of this year, it's December 29th, January 5th, and the 12th. And I'm going to record that. So if you hear this later, I'll have that as just like a completely encompassed class that people can just buy the recordings of later.
Mhm.
Um, because Decans, like I said, you can begin a Decan walk at any point. Not everybody's chart starts at Aries 1. The sun certainly starts to, be brighter at Aries 1, which is like
Mm.
the spring equinox in the northern hemisphere. So the sun is rising up to the summer solstice. That's why we have the tropical points, the tropical signs signal when the sun is either rising or falling from ascension. But everybody has a different chart, so you can kind of enter into doing a Decan walk, even if it's just for one sign or one Decan. Like
Mm.
I have a ton of Taurus in my chart, so I like doing Decan walks during Taurus and Gemini. It's kind of just
Mm.
like I just enjoy them.
Hmm.
I'm not always ready. I have way more other things going on in Aries season where I'm like, I don't feel like doing a Decan walk in Aries. Except for this year, 2026, I'm going to do a deliberate Decan walk, leading it a little bit more because I'm going to pair it with a dream group because I do active dreaming and lucid dreaming and dream journaling. I'm going to teach people my experience of being a lifelong lucid dreamer.
Mm.
I didn't know that I was lucid dreaming when I was younger. It was more of like when I discovered that lucid dreaming was even a phrase, I kind of worked my way back, and I've always just been an active dreamer. I knew that, but lucid dreaming is a very particular kind of exercise within dreaming. It's developing the practice of waking up and coming to realization that you are in a dream while you stay asleep.
Mm.
And that kind of discipline and practice is a really excellent way to just kind of run around in your own mind and wherever else you may go in your dreaming. Like that's up for debate of what happens. But I think that there is a really unvarnished way to engage with the magic of the Decans, where the sun is in particular, while also doing a dream practice and doing a collective dream practice. So like meeting with people over a period of 3 months, meeting every single 10 days and then having a communication between like through WhatsApp, having kind of like a cohort of people that are witnessing to each other about their own dreams and their own omens through the Decan walk, but also sharing their dream life during that time.
Mhm.
I'll teach ways of how to get to a place where you're more likely to lucid dream. And then once you get to that lucid dream state, you're more likely to retain that lucidity without waking up or
Mm.
falling back asleep, because it's kind of finding this kind of middle vibration between the two.
Mhm.
But then part of it is then sharing that dream life as adjacent to the Decan omens during the waking life. So it's kind
Mhm.
of blending a Decan walk community group and kind of shared dream practice through Aries, Taurus, and Gemini of
So
2026.
do those go together, or can you do the dream circle without the Decan walk, or the Decan walk without the dream circle? Or are you doing, is it like a
It'll all just
unit
be
dream?
one thing.
One
Yep.
thing.
Yeah.
Okay,
It'll be like one led group that
cool.
the thread will be Decans through dream
Mhm.
work.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And that's gonna start in Aries season, right?
And yep. The
Yeah.
plan is to start it 10 days before the sun goes into Aries. So
Okay.
you're setting it up to kind of prepare you for when the sun goes into Aries.
So here we at the end of the year, we have the this class about the Decans in general, to
Mhm.
kinda like give
Yep.
people a background, introduce them to the idea of what Decans are, and kind of like
Mhm.
really kind of get a deeper sense of Decans and the
Yeah.
connection with the tarot and their correspondence. And then as a follow-on to that, people can then connect with you with the dream circle and
Mhm.
the Decan walk that you're gonna be doing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic. That sounds
I'm
like,
excited.
yeah, it's really awesome. It sounds like it's really exciting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And then also in May, I'm going to be speaking at ESAR for their Star Club
oh,
about
lovely.
astrological grimoires. And this kind of also falls into dream work and omen collecting and Decan walk. So I'm going to speak about that. And then also I'm going to speak about
And
that at.
just before you go any further, I doubt there's a little plug for you on that one.
Mm,
I was in a class with you on when you talked about grimoires. I think that was
yeah.
for our, what did we call that? That was the
Does the
Mercury
Mercury
Rabbit Out.
meetups? Yeah.
Mercury.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. You did that class on grimoires, and I was so impressed, and I was so excited about making my own grimoire at that time.
Hmm.
And I haven't followed up, but I remember like going out and like buying all kinds of new notebooks to make.
Well, yeah. So sorry I added to your notebook collection. Yeah.
That's awesome. So you're doing that for ESAR.
Yeah.
Okay. And then
I'm doing that for ESAR.
and then
That's in
you were about
May.
to talk about a follow-up for that or something, or?
And then at UAC in Chicago, I'm going to do a lunch lecture on that same subject, but it will also be about just kind of the history of astrological grimoires and like what grimoires are.
Oh,
So it'll be
wonderful.
just an hour talk at UAC, which will be,
Oh,
I'm
that's
excited
so
for.
awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then
Congratulations on both of those.
thanks. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've not attended an astrological conference before, and so this will be my first one to
Okay.
attend, which I'm
Oh,
really excited about.
yeah.
Just to nerd out with all those other astrologers.
Yeah.
Um,
That's
and
lovely. I'll be there too. I'm gonna be
Oh, perfect.
I'm volunteering. I'm gonna be working in the tech team, so
Awesome.
I'll
Cool.
definitely see you there. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'm going to speak for OPA at the end of the year. Um, and I forgot which one it was. I think it was about dreaming, because I submitted dreaming or Decans, and I think that they chose the dreaming. So,
Oh, wonderful.
but so that'll be something new that I've given some lectures before. I like to lecture. I like to give workshops because I like the engagement. I like conversations over monologues.
Yeah.
But looking at just kind of reaching broader audiences, but really it's like, I don't want it to be over people's heads. I want it to be like really practical, like
Yeah.
making your own grimoire, doing your own deck and walk,
Right.
like working with your own life, so
Yeah.
that astrology is not just, I don't want it to just be practical, but I want it to be that the magic itself of this work is very accessible and available to people
Mhm.
of all abilities. So that's it's I like the idea of speaking to bigger audiences like that, because it's like I want it to be like useful, and
Yeah,
more people have this useful tool. I just think that it makes for just a more interesting world.
that's fantastic. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Are you gonna have information about all those, on your website?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and I just wrote a pretty lengthy end of the year newsletter. I don't send newsletters out that often. I looked back, and this will be my sixth newsletter for the year. I wasn't like really great at sending one every month, which I'm fine with.
Yeah.
But I send out a lot more on Substack, so I'm gonna post that end of the year letter on my Substack so people can read it, and it just kind of goes through. Because I did a lot of collaborative work with the Astera Sophia Kairos group. We're going to do some little mini courses next year. We've done a lot of forecasting.
Mhm.
It was kind of fun to kind of look back at the end of the year and see kind of a body of work, because when you work like this, a lot of times you just build it and then keep going, build it and keep going, and it's nice to look back and see that there was like a thread of of work that it kind of kept building on itself.
Mhm.
I was watching, there was a movie of the guy that it was about James Garfield. Oh, it
Mm,
was on Netflix. It was
okay.
about the guy that killed James Garfield,
Mm,
and they were interviewing the actors about it. And the question was, um, you know, how do you know if somebody is like a self-made person or someone is just delusional? And the answer that they gave was like, I think it's just the success. If you were successful, then you like were a self-made person. But if you
mm.
didn't have the success and followed your dreams, then you were just delusional.
Hmm.
And the idea of like, if I took that as like, if your efforts like found a place or an audience or a place to land, and there was
Mm.
reception, then it
Mhm.
wasn't just delusional work. And
Mm.
sometimes working like this can feel a little delusional,
It
because you're
can.
talking to the stars and the omens and your dreams, and you're like, doesn't this make sense to everybody else? And
Right.
luckily this year I've had a lot of response back from people that it's been helpful, and so it's like it feels successful just for that, because it feels like I've
Yeah.
brought something to people that is received,
Yeah.
and that is fuel to kind of keep going and deepening the work and giving it to more people and making it more accessible, because it's fun, but it's just like really beautiful work to do.
Mm. Yeah, totally, totally. I love that. Well,
Yeah.
I think, we'll put, links to your website and to your different social media channels in the description below so people can connect there, and, we'll put your YouTube link in there too so they can go over and subscribe to your channel, and, if anybody's still watching this video, please subscribe to this channel that you're
Hmm.
watching, obviously, and, yeah, I'm just so happy to see all the success that's coming your way, and everything that you're doing. And it's just, I can't encourage people enough to connect with you. You're a wonderful astrologer, and I just love following the work that you're doing. So, any last
Awesome.
words that you
Thanks.
want to say to anybody before we kind of sign off?
Yeah, there's three maxims that are inscribed above the Temple of Athena. in Greece. And one a lot of people know is Know Thyself. And then another one is like Everything in Moderation.
Hmm.
But the third one is like not one people talk about much. And there's arguments of like how it's translated. But basically, it's like with surety, disaster follows. And how I interpret that is like if you are confident that something is definitely true, then you're just going to have disaster follow that assumption that you're right. And I further interpret that of like, be curious and think that you could be wrong, because that keeps you interested.
Yeah.
And I don't take astrology or anything I believe as like the ultimate truth. It's like, I think it's true right now, and I'm going to keep testing it and finding out to see if I still believe it tomorrow. I think that just staying curious and being open that you could be wrong is like a much healthier way to just operate in the world. You can still have conviction, but know thyself, but think that maybe you're mistaken is like a good way to go. And so I want to proselytize that last maxim, because I feel like the other two get a lot of airplay, but that last one is like, maybe
with surety comes disaster. I love that.
Yeah. So
And
those are my last words.
the thing that I like about that too is the word disaster.
Oh yeah.
Has the root word star in it. It means to be away from the stars, or operating without the stars. And so I just think that that's like with surety means you're separating from the stars, which is all.
I remember that you taught me that when we were talking about synastry, like synastry or disaster, and I had not heard that from the etymology of that word. That's wonderful.
Yeah, lovely. So all right, everybody, until next time, keep your eye on the sky and make a wish upon a star.